Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Yevamot page 85, which discusses the concept of a kasuva. When a woman gets married, there is a document that is actually read under the chuppah at the time of the marriage, in which outlines all of the obligations the man has to the wife, and in the event that the marriage would terminate, that he has certain financial obligations. So we can certainly understand the significance and importance that a woman would have this ketubah in order to be able to know that her marriage is secure, and again, in the event that the marriage would not continue, that she would have this financial support on the back end. Now, the Talmud over here tells us that there are sometimes a ketubah is given, even if the relationship is a Torah prohibition, such as a high priest, a Kohen Gadol, who is not allowed to marry a widow, or for that matter, a regular Kohen marrying a divorced woman. But nonetheless, even though it's a Torah prohibition, we still say that a ketubah is given. But interestingly enough, when it comes to a rabbinically forbidden marriage, in which you would think, again, is less problematic because it's not a Torah-based prohibition, there it says that she does not get a ketubah, which almost shows the lack of validity in the marriage, which is very difficult to understand. Why would we say that when it comes to a Torah prohibition that there's some strength in this marriage and there's a ketubah, but yet when it comes to a rabbinic marriage or prohibition, we say that there's no ketubah at all? And on this, the Talmud says a very famous reason behind this logic. He says that when it comes to Torah law, divrei Torah ein srichen chizuk. It doesn't need any support. It doesn't need strength. However, when it comes to divrei sofrim, things which are rabbinical enactments, those are srichen chizuk. They need more strength. And therefore, even though it's something which is only rabbinic, sometimes we go even more strict when it comes to those things. And because of that, like in other circumstances, here we find that there is no ketubah, even though it's only rabbinic, because we want to show strength and support to the rabbinic laws. Because one could actually think, you know what, I'm going to be very careful when it comes to the Torah laws. Whatever's in the Torah I'm going to keep, and of course I'm going to be very careful with. However, when it comes to the statements of the rabbis and all their different laws and rules and enactments and decrees, maybe one would say, you know what, I don't care about them. I'm not going to listen to them. They're not as significant as the Torah. And therefore, because of that, we actually have to go more strict when it comes to those laws, which is a very fascinating thing. But we could also understand this in American law. Certainly, no person is going to go and just blatantly go to a bank and rob it and steal. So that's something which is so obvious that it's so against our very nature. But when it comes to small petty crimes, these are things that a person may be more lax in. Or as it says in Parshas Akev, that a person will thresh upon it, so to speak, with their ankles. They'll just step all over these insignificant mitzvot. And therefore, we find, again, the Torah often will place upon more stringencies to make sure that we're careful when it comes to even the seemingly insignificant or light rabbinic laws.